So, to elaborate on the theme of studying video games and then creating a video game as a result of that study. Uh, and I think part of the issue here is, uh, first of all, one, influence on the video game industry. Uh, the video game industry, for better or worse, has become um, Troy, ancient Troy, and the video game has become the Trojan horse. And the attack is psychological. So I think and furthermore, the international market for video games, uh, in particular, um, I would say the development model of using the American um, video game market as a incubation of an idea that will then be deployed on the international market. The question here is then, if you had influence on the video game market, if you were able to launch an attack on the video game industry, would you do it? If you were studying the video game industry, as many people do, and you were readying an attack, if you were building a Trojan horse, or if you were in the Trojan horse business, um, would you build? This is obviously, would you build a Trojan horse? If you were in the video game business, would you build a video game? Knowing that what you're doing is, in a sense, toxic, but uh, what you're doing is you are, in a sense, transforming the industry by um, creating a development tool. Okay. And I think there's, this is sort of an occult meaning of development tool is now sort of evolving. Sort of, the thinking here is that uh, what's going to happen is uh, there is going to be a kind of, or perhaps an illumination, hopefully, of some sort of missing link. You can say, when you bring mathematical truth to video games, what you're studying is the truth of what is basically a virtual programmer to um, develop, um, satisfy some condition, and develop some computer code, and develop this experience, the video game experience. So it's a simulation. It's simply it's a development tool. That's all it is. The rest takes place in your mind. And I think the question here is then okay, so you say, okay, is it a video game or is it a development tool? And the thinking here is that, to say, and then you say, well, if it's such a compelling development tool, um, then, but it's only a video game for those whose minds are sensitive and who resonate to mathematical truth. That is to say, you have to have the will and the desire. You have to want to tune into mathematical truth in order to appreciate this video game. I think one of the issues with um, translating informal mathematics to formal mathematics is that um, it's something that every mathematician does, uh, and it's considered one of the preliminary processes involved in digesting mathematical material, and of course a necessary aspect of communication as well. And the thinking here is that this is an aspect of the philosophy of mathematics, that what mathematicians are doing is that they are exchanging genetic material through a serialization format. And convention is the standard for development of the serialization format. And the convention is related to being certain about a proof of a theorem. And this very often illuminates definition, or even establishes that a definition is admissible in the sense of satisfying the admissibility conditions. And this is how mathematics builds. This is how mathematics grows. This is the standard for what counts as genuine mathematical language. I mean, the question arises, well, what of this video game? And I think, it's tempting, for me at least, to dismiss the topic entirely by claiming that the classroom is a video game. That you have your adrenaline, you have your vision or your optic nerve stimulation, and then that in fact, because of the body odor of the students, you have a game that is not only video and sound based, but also hormone based as well, which is something, I mean, you can't smell your computer. It smells like frickin', whatever, computer factory. Who cares about that? It doesn't smell like, the other students. You can't smell, you can't, and then of course there's this whole aspect of hearing the other students and getting a sense of their abilities and wanting a supremacy as a member of the class.